Okay, suggested solutions to the Unit 1, taught as object scrutiny. Let's start from activity 1.1. Contrasting factual statements with imperatives. Okay, so factual statements just state facts. They give us facts. They give us information. They are also called declaratives. And imperatives are statements that require someone to do something. It can be polite or command, but it requires something to be done, an action to be done. Rephrase sentences 1 to 4 so that you turn the following declaratives into imperatives. So we want to convert the following declaratives, statements giving us information, into imperative statements that want something to be done. So let's look at example 1. Kofi closed the door. Yes, it is a declarative. It is telling us something that was done. Kofi closed the door. Converting this to an imperative, we can get, Kofi, would you please close the door? I want Kofi to close the door. 2. Kwame is going to town. Kwame, go to town. 3. Ifua wants to take this book back to the library, it can become, Ifua, return this library book. 4. Joshua needs money. It can become, Joshua, you must get money somehow. Activity 1.2. Contrasting factual statements with interrogatives. Interrogatives are questions. Okay, so they require an answer. Factual statements, which are also known as declaratives, have truth value. They can be true or false. For instance, if I tell you it is raining outside, it's a factual statement. I've given you a fact. And you go outside and it's actually raining, then the statement was true. Right? If you go and it's not raining, it's false. Factual statements have truth value. They can be true or false. This doesn't apply to interrogatives. Questions cannot be true or false. But questions can rather be successful or not. If you ask a question, is it fair? And I say yes, it is not true, and I say yes, your question is not true or false, but your question has become successful because I answered it. If you don't get an answer, it wasn't successful. So that's one difference or one contrast that exists between factual statements and interrogatives. Factual statements, also known as declaratives, have truth value, but interrogatives can be successful or not. They don't have truth values. Okay, so rephrase the same sentences, now 5 to 8, so that each is a genuine question. Make an attempt with words to get information. So you can add words to convert them to genuine question. So 5, Kofi closed the door. This is a factual statement. Let's convert this to an interrogative. Did Kofi close the door? So this time around, I want someone to give me an answer. Maybe yes or no. 6, Kwame is going to town. Kwame, are you going to town? 7, Ifua wants to take this book back to the library. Ifua, do you want to return this library book? 8, Joshua needs money. Joshua, do you need money? Activity 1.3. Contrasting factual statements with imperatives. Identify for each of the numbered items 9 to 15 which of the following interpretation applies. So they want us to know whether 1, A, it is a request for someone to do something, a polite or indirect command, which is an imperative, or B, a request for information, that is interrogative, a question. C, a statement expressing information, that is declarative. What label should you use for each? Is it possible for a question to be overtly, that means on the outside, a request for information, and covertly, on the inside, a request to get something done? Could any of these questions serve possibly two functions? Let's look at 9. Sir, we are the only ones here. Are you going to close the library at 5 p.m.? They don't want the library attendant to close the library after 5. They want to still stay there to study, probably study. So they're asking him politely, as if it's a question. It's overtly an interrogative, but it's covertly a request, right? Which is what? An imperative. 10. Is today the deadline for submission of these documents for signature? This is a genuine question. It's an interrogative straight away. 11. Can you tell me the way to get a reimbursement for this purchase? This is also explicitly an interrogative or overtly a question, but implicitly or covertly, it's an imperative. I want the person to direct me. The person who said, can you tell me the way to get a reimbursement for this purchase, will not be satisfied if the stranger or the person he asks just said, yes, I can, without any further action. He needs instructions. He needs direction to the police, but he's asking politely. Okay, so this is an example of an overtly interrogative and covertly imperative. 12. Is there any other time Is there any time other than 24 tomorrow when I can book the appointment to see the hall master? This is also an imperative. They want the person to tell them, right? But it's a polite request. 13. Is this teller window open for cash withdrawals? A genuine question. 14. I'm looking for a place to buy coins. I want someone to tell me, to direct me to buy coins, but I'm asking politely, okay? Imperative. This matter is going to be tabled for discussion at the next meeting. A declarative. I want them to know that this meeting has been deferred or postponed to next time. So I want them to come next time. Sorry, I want them to do something. Polite directive. Sorry, that means imperative. Imperative. 15 is an imperative. Okay. Activity 2.1. Constructing declarative statement. For each of these expressions, add words to write a complete declarative. Okay, so they're saying complete here. Why? That means these declaratives are incomplete. Now, there's something, let's learn something more here. We have sentence fragment, what we call sentence fragment. They are just fragments of sentences. That means pieces. Okay, incomplete. So, for example, rice and stew is an example of a sentence fragment. It's not complete. Why? Sentence fragments usually lack a subject or a predicate or a predicate or a verb. Okay, so if I say Kofi is eating rice and stew, it is a complete declarative. I've given you information. You know what Kofi is doing. But if I say Kofi is, or I break the piece, or I take the fragment, rice and stew, what does that mean? What am I trying to say? What has rice and stew done? What do you mean? Okay, but note, some sentence fragments can make sense in some, depending on the situation. Okay, for instance, if you enter a restaurant and you see rice and stew as a particular place, and you see people serving there, you understand that, okay, it's rice and stew that they serve here. But generally, sentence fragments don't make sense when I'm speaking universally, generally. Okay, so for each of these expressions, add words to write a complete declarative. So rice and stew, as I said, Kofi is eating rice and stew. 2. 31st December Women's Movement. You can say the organization 31st December Women's Movement has its headquarters at Achimota. 3. Taking the lead. You can say I'm taking the lead. 4. Unless tomorrow. You will not get what you want unless you return tomorrow. 5. Education of the girl child. Completing it becomes something like the education of the girl child has become an important issue in this day and age. Okay, so activity 2.2, constructing questions and commands. Activity 2.2. Now take each of the same expressions. Itemize for this activity as 6 to 10 and create an imperative, okay, or an interrogative. Indicate what type of speech acts you have constructed for each case. By now you have a solid understanding. So let's just do the 6 and 7. I'll leave the 8 to 10 to you. You can comment them to test yourself. So 6 and 7, let's convert it to an imperative. So rice and stew. Please bring me rice and stew for lunch. I'm asking politely. I want the person to do something. Okay, so it's an imperative. Interrogative. Are they preparing rice and stew? Okay. Let's look at 31st December's Women Movement. As an imperative. Could I say, can you please come with me, or would you please go with me tomorrow to the 31st December Women's Movement? I'm asking politely. Okay, it's an imperative. Or if I have a daughter or something, go to the 31st December Women's Movement tomorrow. It's a command. It's also an imperative. I want someone to do something. An interrogative. 31st December Women's Movement. I can say, is the 31st December Women's Movement going to be held tomorrow? Okay, so the 8 to 10, you do them and you can answer them in the comment section just to test yourself. I'll come to reply. Emotive expressions. Let's look at activity 2.3. Creating your own examples of emotive expressions. So emotive expressions, they are just, let's learn something here. They are just, people expressing their expressions. They don't follow any logical reasoning or logical thinking. Okay, so examples are what they give here. Hallelujah. When you say hallelujah, the person is expressing themselves. Okay, this is not a declarative or interrogative, or they're just expressing themselves. Hey, who do you think you are? You see that's a question about they are angry. They are expressing their anger. You get it? Oh, how are you crazy? Okay, that 14. That Michael, he's the best man in the whole world. I just love to watch him. He's expressing his love for Michael. So it is his opinion. It is his opinion. Can you believe that? I can't stand the way she's dressed. The person is, there are people expressing their opinions. Okay, these are just emotive expressions. So you can create yours. You can say, goal. Oh my God, I can't believe it. All these are emotive expressions. They are not declarative. They are not interrogative. They are just people expressing themselves. Okay, so you have emotive expressions, sentence fragments, and the rest for a revision. So for activity 2.4 going, they will come in the part 2 of this video.